Welcome to an interview with The Nocturnal. My name is Ali Garcia. And so tell me, this is the newest chapter of the classic film, the cult classic film, Tales from the Hood. Now, explain your role in the film because it is absolutely polar opposite from your role of Fat Reggie on Bowlers from HBO. So tell us a little bit more about that role and why was this one so particularly different?
With ballers, it's cars, women, sports, partying, and this is just a different element altogether. But some of the selfishness of Reggie from season one, this character has some of that stuff. Fortunately, Reggie was able to arc into something different by season five. But this character is just a little more. His motives are different from Reggie. And that sort of thing. He's a property manager basically, and he's trying to get some tenants to move out because he wants to develop something else economically that's going to bring him some big funds.
Uh-huh.
The family that he's trying to move out, they have a son that's going through chemotherapy. So under chemotherapy, people need to be settled and go through all the process of trying to get better. My character doesn't care about that. Sets up something to just at least scare him to move.
Yeah.
Things go wrong, and vengeance come back. The spirits come back to get him. So it's just he is a little different. Selfish, yes, but different from Reggie.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I said to myself, and correct me if I'm wrong, from that episode because I know it's very poignant in the sense that it shows a lot of today's topics and what we're going through in today's society in this country.
Right.
So that episode kind of reminded me of like gentrification.
Right. There is some of that, and it's funny you mention that because that is kind of what's going on. I'm from LA, so there is a lot of that going on now, but it's disguised under the idea of making neighborhoods better and better properties and buildings going up, but at the same time, there is some sort of selfish gain that's going on because what happens is when under gentrification, when they come in and they set up these buildings, the people who have been there, they get pushed out to other places and different things like that. So it's a little bit of that too, absolutely. So I think the film is actually fitting for the times as well.
Absolutely, that's what I thought because that's actually a great segue to my next question. Is that everybody's talking about it and I realize like what I said before is that it's so closely related to what we're going through in society, and because of the political divide in this country and now with racial tension in this country, and we see that play out in the episodes, was this particularly interest of you in joining the cast? Did this bring you into joining it like, hey, listen, I see that this is what we're going through right now in the country, so I would love to join this? Or how did it happen for you?
For me, the script was sent over, and I found out later that the directors, we had like two directors. The directors were familiar with my work from Ballers, and they liked me on there. And one of them I actually worked with on my first TV show called The Hustle. It was like 2013. We worked together, and so my reason for picking it was because I just wanted to do something different. And this is still very early on in my career, but it's important that I diversify my resume now and not get put into a box. So I said, man, this is kind of different. I am a horror film buff kind of guy. So for this, I was like, yo, this is different. Let me try that and expand my resume.
So you challenge yourself.
Say it again?
You challenge yourself basically, because that was like my thing. It's like, why horror? I mean, I'm not like really into it. I'm a scaredy cat. I've always been. So when they offered it to me, I was like, okay, how scary is it? And they were like, no, you're gonna like it. And I was like, okay. And I was interested. I was like, oh, okay. And I kept on, and I felt like it was a bigger message behind it, where it just wasn't horror. I felt like it was a greater message behind it that the directors and the producers and writers were trying to convey. And that's what made it interesting to me.
Yeah, I think usually that's what I also like to get to. When I watch something, I'm like, what else is there other than, because I mean, I ideally understand it's entertainment, but personally, I like to invest my time and energy into something that has some sort of value to my life. and what I need to gain from it. And even from just working on the piece, it just puts things in perspective where there are people walking around with that kind of selfish vibe of just looking out for self. If I was a landlord or property manager, I would never do something like that.
Absolutely.
Put somebody else so I can build some. If anything, I'm looking for ways to try to assist with the process of if there's some way I can assist this family going through this chemo situation. I probably would have granted a few months free rent. That's me though. I don't function, but that's why I choose these parts because, like Reggie, I'm nothing like Reggie. I know, even though sometimes people think these characters are real life because they confront me when I was out, man. Why you spending all your friend money? I'm like, that's the role. That ain't me. But that's why I take these parts because it's cool to play something totally not like that and it's fun pretending that stuff. I'm not really that stuff. So there are life lessons. And I think that, in fact, the vehicle I'm driving now, I'm leasing it because I'm hearing that so much when I was filming Ballers. Don't buy lease. Don't buy lease. I said it. Dwayne Johnson's character said it. That was a theme especially throughout season 1. So hopefully people walk away with something, along with some scares and everything else. Hopefully maybe just to be a little bit better as, with our humanity. That's all.
Exactly. Like, hopefully it inspires others. That Ballers particularly inspired you with leasing.
Right. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
Now, aside from being an actor and also photographer, you're also a comedian.
Yeah.
And how did that come about? Because I know you were particularly interested in acting first, but explain to me, how did you become a comedian with your comedic shows? Because I know that you're particularly known for impersonations. So I went online, I checked out one of your impersonations, and I saw how you did Chris Tucker. And I'm like, I'm a huge Chris Tucker fan from Rush Hour. And I thought that you nailed it.
And you know what? Funny thing is, I have friends who really do impersonations. I just do a couple. I just do the couple, and the ones I do because I think I've like doing voices is like it's like singing. Like either they're in your register vocally or they're not. So Chris Tucker, when I first started doing Chris Tucker, I was like in high school, and my voice was a lot higher in high school, and I was just a fan of his movies, and my friends liked it, so I did it. When I started working on Denzel, I remember I saw one of my first films I saw of his that stuck with me was I saw Malcolm X, and he was so convincing as Malcolm X. I thought Malcolm X really looked like him. I couldn't get his image out of my mind over the real Malcolm X. But that kind of went into a thing because in my household, everybody does voices. Like my brother does Kanye West, YG, and a bunch of other people. But so I didn't think voices were anything special. And so when I would recite lines from a Denzel film, I remember he did in Malcolm X, whatever the line was. I think there's a line, we didn't land on Plymouth Rock landed on us. And I recall the lines and go through the movies and I point out the whatever the lines are that Denzel would say. And so my friends would have a big thing about it, but I didn't think it was nothing special because everybody did them around me. But yeah, so with doing stand-up, I don't even know who posted those clips. Those clips are so old, but stand-up allows me to keep very grounded and connected, man. And you mentioned Chris Tucker. I was able to tour with Chris Tucker for a few years. We're still really good friends, but I'm grateful that he allowed me to even tour on the road with him. But I would do the Chris Tucker thing because the fans would like it. But I mean, he was cool with it. He liked it. So I'm glad, I have some sort of talent so I can work off my.
And that's good that the guy that you're impersonating, he approves. It would be a different story. Like if he didn't approve, then it'd be like, all right, maybe I should do something else.
Right. So I'm glad he was cool with it. He liked it and all that good stuff. I mean, but yeah, I do. Like I said, I do a couple. The most popular one, everyone likes the Denzel that I do. But I'm glad people even care, to even listen to me. I'm still on that level of it.
Now, you used to do like some comedy shows, but I know because of the pandemic, it literally has stopped everything, especially like in-person shows with audiences. Like in New York, there hasn't been Broadway like in almost a year, which is like terrifying for so many. Now, how has that affected you in your work in performing live in front of audiences? Would you do anything virtually?
Yeah, I headlined the show about a few days ago. Over the weekend, I headlined a comedy show that was done by Zoom. So Zoom has been like the new wave, obviously because of the pandemic and everything. But I got a swing to New York like this week. So so I do photography as well. So I I did a photo shoot for someone yesterday, and as we were talking, he said, "Yo, I'm gonna give you some leads on some clubs in New York. So while you're out there, you know, I can hit some of those clubs up." So I may try to see some of the clubs. I've been hearing that the clubs are still working, keeping the social distancing, and doing shows outside and so forth. So when I go back to start filming, I know we have like 2 weeks of being quarantined. So I'm gonna just keep low, because we get tested all the time for
Exactly.
on set. So I'm gonna just lay low. But if I can, of course, doing it the proper way, I'm gonna definitely try to work some clubs when I get back to New York soon. So we'll see. I mean, it's rough because comedy is all about connecting, and I like the audience nice and close and intimate like that. So I have friends who've been doing comedy shows in parking lots with cars and people flick their lights. I'm not really into that, to be honest with you. I need to connect. I need to hear.
Yeah, you need to hear people clapping. Like I've seen that too. Like if you're clapping, you know, do the lights of your car, and I'm like, well, that's kind of weird.
All of that. So I mean, I get it, but the Zoom comedy shows have been okay. I'm not opposed to them. I have a few more
I
lined up.
ask you, like, how was it? How was the interaction? Like, were people clapping, laughing? Like, what was it?
I mean, people laugh because you get the people on the screen, so people laugh. So that helps. It helps, but it's not like live comedy. And that's the thing about as an actor, coming from theater. That's the thing from theater versus like TV or film. Theater, you feel that energy from the audience. It's instant. Like if the joke hits or the crime, whatever it is, you're connected. That's the whole reason why I do stand up, is because I come from theater, and I wanted to feel the same connection that I was getting from theater. I want to feel that every night, and stand up allows me to do that. Excuse me. So we'll see. Hopefully, when I get back to New York, I'll see what that feels like. Because the Zoom is like I said, it's a disconnect,
Yeah.
in a way, but it's cool because it allows us to connect in a like I said, in a different way. But I'm ready to get back in the clubs.
All right, I hear you. I hear you. Now, besides the comedy, I also have seen many, like even from Essence, that you're known for your style, like the hats, your style, the confidence that people say online that you bring in your outfits. Now, I even see right now you got a hat, like a different style hat. But how is it with your style? Have you felt that your style has evolved throughout the years being within the industry?
I feel like, uh, as far as style and the whole thing, my whole thing has always been into when we dress well, we feel better,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want to be anywhere where I'm thinking about what I'm wearing, because that can be distracting from being present with whomever it is I'm engaging with. That's one reason, part of it. That's one idea of it. But I just appreciate the texture of clothes. I like dressing other people. Um, I don't know where I really don't know what. Some of it comes from. Some of it comes from. I remember just growing up. I my mother couldn't afford to buy me whatever the latest was, or whatever it was. I remember my first pair of Nikes I begged her for, like in the third grade. And throughout high school, I did a lot of thrift shopping. So I've always been into wanting to create my own look, not necessarily into the trendy stuff. I think being trendy and stylish are two different lanes. So I don't need big brands and different things like that. But I do like I like putting looks together, our ideas together, and I enjoy that particular challenge. I don't know where that comes from, but I do. I appreciate clothes. I appreciate men's fashion, uh, obviously, but I do appreciate women fashion as well. I don't know where that comes from, but I do enjoy it.
You do enjoy it. Yeah, you rock it well.
I try to, because also too, when I do these interviews, I don't know, and this is me actually kind of just more relaxed, but I don't know where these clips are gonna go. These clips, I know that this clip is gonna end up in Japan somewhere, and end up in Canada,
And you
and
can see it on YouTube.
YouTube, and so, but also the other core reason is that our reputation is based on our consistency. So if there's certain things I want, and this is not to be a downer, but I lost my brother a few years ago, in the middle of filming Ballers. But my point is when you lose somebody close to you, and you go to the funeral service, naturally, it causes you to think about how you want to be remembered. And so I think about that too. When people say me, or if someone were to say, bring me up, how would people describe me? And I would like for people to say, man, he's very kind and humble, and uh, smell good, and he dresses well. Whatever things are, there are a few things that I want connected to me. And so when I do these interviews and different things, whenever people decide to pull up these interviews or Google or whatever it is, people say, "Oh, he was dressed well here and there and there and there." Because if you were to Google Will Smith he looks clean all the time. Diddy is just clean all the time. There are a couple people that I look to and I say, man, I would like to be associated with a couple positive things. And so that's part of why. And then again, like I said, your clip might go, it's gonna be everywhere. I don't know this might land on the desk of Gap and say, yo, we want you to come. Oh, sure, let's do it. I like Gap. I like, so I just try to be put together. That's all. I really respect for, these interviews. I respect you guys. So I don't want to come on here with a sweatsuit on. That's not my style either.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, are there any future projects in the works?
Yeah, right now I'm on another series. Blessingly, I'm on another series. We filmed one episode earlier this year, but then COVID hit. So then we were down, and I fly back to New York like this week.
Can you say the series or not yet?
Wait, say again?
Can you say the name of the series or not yet?
Oh, this series is a small show called Power, and it's called Power Book 3. Okay. And for people who have seen Power, we're going into the backstory of 50 Cent's character. Okay. And I played 50 Cent's character, Kanan. I'm playing his uncle. Okay. And the storyline is based around like four of us, which is a mom, her two brothers, which is me and another actor, and 50 Cent's character, who's our nephew. And it takes place like in the 90s. So I'm sure we'll come back and really talk about that once that's time to drop, but that should be a pretty solid series.
Yeah, that is. I have a friend that came out in the Power series, and she came out in a couple of episodes, and she was like really excited. She played one of the drug dealer's daughters. Yeah. I mean,
the streets are definitely the streets are messing with it. They like it, and so I'm just glad to be a part of it. So absolutely,
because it's a job, it's an opportunity, and it's just more experience under your belt. The same thing like from my friend as well. She was really grateful for the opportunity, and she only had good things to say about everyone on set from Power.
Oh yeah. But everybody, at least with everyone I've met and the cast members, super cool, super nice. Everybody's cool. Everybody's nice. No egos. And that's what I look for when I work on a project. I'm always trying to find out if everybody's cool. No egos. No egos was on Ballers. No egos on Power. The funny thing is the egos I have experienced have been from smaller productions, smaller projects.
Really?
Like, it's wild. It's really wild how that happens. But on the bigger ones, everybody's cool.
Man. Now, also, I was just curious to know, as you get back in and as you choose different roles for you, whatever roles you find challenging to join, would you look for anything particular in a film or in a series? Such as, I know now with this racial tension in the country, everybody has called for diversity. Diversity in the workplace, especially in Hollywood, not only in front of the screen, but most importantly behind the screen. Directors, producers, especially in the writer's room, because that's where the stories develop. Now, as an actor, are you looking for that now? Are you looking for the diversity on set as a Black actor?
Yeah, that's always key. But also, I'm looking for when you talk about diversity, I'm looking for me.
Mhm.
That's the main thing. I can't, and to be very clear, I can't fight for anybody else. I can't fight for anybody else's issue because when you get on the plane, you get into on the plane until you put your mask on first. So right now, with any project, I'm always looking for us. I'm looking for me. I'm looking first for Black people, brown people, i.e., and let's get that going and let's see what's going on. So fortunately, especially with Ballers, the cast was nice and diverse and all those sorts of things. So it's always nice when people are open to that. I mean, it's just time for change. People, we need some color on screen. Like, yo, it's like, what's up? We
I
been
know.
here. It ain't like all of a sudden.
It's been long enough.
It's like it's not like it's been long enough. I think we just need some. We
All
just need some more stories told. So
flavor.
that is important to question, not to be winded about it, but absolutely that does play a part. Sometimes you don't know until you get on set what it's looking like, but it's always appreciative. Especially like Balls was really good at leaving subliminal messages. Like they'll say Black Lives Matter, at sneak that, get work that in there. They talk about diversifying the league and all the ownership and all those kinds of things. So that is important to me. That's important, and it's really dope for the directors and networks to really push for that because we need that, and I think that's good.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate the interview.
Thank you. I appreciate your positive energy, and thank you for taking time to talk to me.
Yes, absolutely. So good luck with everything amidst this whole pandemic. Good luck in absolutely everything.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
All right, bye.
Bye.